My sister-in-law's champagne glass stopped halfway to her lips when the general walked in. Her face went white. Behind her, the entire ballroom full of Pentagon brass and defense contractors seemed to inhale at once. That's General Morrison, she whispered. Why is he looking at you? Let me back up. The invitation arrived on embossed cardstock. Colonel Derek Marsh and Vanessa Hartwell cordially invite you to celebrate their engagement. My brother's second marriage, this time to a woman who worked in procurement at the Pentagon. A woman who'd never met me, but had opinions about my life anyway. I almost didn't go. 20 years of keeping my head down, staying invisible, had made civilian social events feel like enemy territory. But Derek called personally. Riley, please. I know you're not big on these things, but it would mean a lot. Vanessa's family is all brass and contractors. I need someone from my side there. So I went. The venue was the Army-Navy Country Club in Arlington, all dark wood and oil paintings of long-dead admirals. I wore a simple gray dress that had the surgical scars on my left side where the bullet had clipped my liver in Mosul. My hair was down, softer than the severe bun I'd worn through 2 decades of deployments. I'd practiced walking without the hitch in my right leg. I knew, like someone's maidenette. Someone forgettable. That was the idea. Derek found me near the bar, looking relieved. You made it. Come on, I'll introduce you to Vanessa. She was everything my brother wanted to marry, polished, connected, confident. Her dress probably cost more than my monthly disability check. Her handshake was firm but brief, her smile not quite reaching her eyes as they catalogued my off-the-rack outfit. Riley, Derek's told me so much about you. The pause before my name was slight, but deliberate. You were in the military too, weren't you? Yes. What did you do? Her tone suggested she was being polite, checking a box. Intelligence support. Oh, immediate dismissal. So, like analysis? Behind a desk? Derek shifted uncomfortably. He knew better, but we'd agreed years ago not to discuss my actual work. The NDAs I'd signed could put me in Leavenworth. Riley's being modest. I supported field operations, I said. For 20 years. Vanessa's mother had materialized beside us, a trim woman in her 60s wearing captain's bars on a name tag. She was Navy Reserve, I realized. Captain Hartwell's eyes swept over me with professional assessment and found me wanting. Intelligence support, Vanessa told her. Desk work. How nice, Captain Hartwell said. Vanessa's father was a naval aviator. Her brother's a SEAL. It's wonderful that the military has roles for everyone, though. Support staff are very important. The condescension was thick enough to cut. What branch? She asked me. Army. Then attached to Joint Task Forces. Rank, Lieutenant Colonel. I'd pinned it 3 months before the IED in Baghdad had ended my career. The promotion ceremony had been in a plywood office at a classified location. No family, no photos. Just my commanding officer and 2 teammates who understood what the rank really meant. Captain Hartwell's eyebrows rose slightly. That's impressive for support work. You must have been very good at filing. Vanessa laughed, high and bright. Several people nearby turned to look. Mom, stop, she said, not meaning it. Riley, you have to understand, we're a family of operators. Dad flew F-14s in Desert Storm. My brother's done 4 combat deployments with Team 3. We have a particular respect for people who actually see action. Of course you do, I said quietly. The evening progressed like a slow bleed. Vanessa introduced me to guests with the same apologetic tone. Derek's sister, she did support work in the Army. Each time, I watched them recalibrate their interest downward. A Marine colonel asked politely about my service, then excused himself when I mentioned intelligence. A defense contractor didn't even wait that long. Derek found me by the window an hour in. Riley, I'm sorry. Vanessa doesn't mean. She means exactly what she's saying. I kept my voice level. It's fine. I'm used to it. You could tell them. Just hint at what you actually did. No. He sighed. Still keeping secrets. Still keeping teammates alive. Some of the people I'd worked with were still downrange, still operating in places that didn't officially exist. My silence protected them. The toast started at 8. Vanessa's father, a retired admiral, spoke about service and sacrifice. Her brother, Lieutenant Hartwell, talked about the SEAL ethos. Vanessa herself spoke about marrying into a military family, about understanding what real service meant. Some people, she said, her eyes finding mine across the room, wear the uniform and think that's enough. But true warriors know the difference between being in the military and being a warrior, between support roles and combat roles, between showing up and actually serving. The room applauded. Derek's face had gone red. I stood. The chair scraped loud in the sudden quiet. That's when the ballroom doors opened, and General Morrison walked in. 4 stars on each shoulder, chest full of ribbons. The kind of presence that made rooms stand at attention without him saying a word. He was flanked by 2 aides, both colonels, both moving with the controlled grace of special operations backgrounds. Every person in that ballroom knew who he was. Commander of Joint Special Operations Command. The man who oversaw Delta, SEAL Team 6, and the activity. His eyes swept the room once, then locked onto me with absolute focus. "Oh my God," Vanessa whispered beside me. "Is he?" General Morrison crossed the ballroom in measured strides. People stepped back, making a path. He stopped 3 feet from me, and his face broke into the first smile I'd seen from him in 15 years. "Ghost," he said. "I'll be damned." The silence in the ballroom was absolute. General Morrison's aides had stopped behind him, both staring at me with expressions I recognized. The look operators gave when they'd heard stories and weren't sure they were true. "Sir," I said quietly, "I didn't know you were in D.C. Transition meeting at the Pentagon. Saw your brother's name on the invitation list for tonight's event at the club. Remembered you mentioning a brother years ago." His eyes crinkled. "Thought I'd pay my respects to someone who saved my ass more times than I can count." Vanessa made a small sound. Her father had materialized beside her, the retired admiral, his face caught between confusion and dawning recognition. "I'm sorry," Captain Hartwell said, her voice uncertain for the first time all evening. "General Morrison, you know Riley?" "Know her?" Morrison laughed, a sharp bark. "Captain, I've known Ghost since she was a first lieutenant running intercepts in Afghanistan. Before that was her call sign, actually. Before most people knew what she was capable of." He looked at me. "What year did you pen, Captain?" 2009. 2010, sir. "Right. Kandahar. You were embedded with my task force. We were hunting a high-value target, Taliban commander who had been heading supply convoys." Morrison turned to address the room, his voice carrying the weight of command. "Ghost spent 3 weeks intercepting enemy communications, mapping network patterns, building a target package from nothing. She pinpointed his location to a 5-meter radius in a city of 500,000 people." One of his aides stepped forward. "Colonel Barnes, sir. I was on that operation. Platoon leader with the Rangers." He looked at me with something like reverence. "You gave us the compound layout, enemy strength, optimal approach routes. We hit them at 0-200, pulled the target out with 0 friendly casualties. It was the cleanest op I've ever run." Vanessa's brother, Lieutenant Hartwell, had gone very still. His seal, trident, suddenly seemed smaller. "Ghost," Morrison continued, "became the call sign every special operations commander wanted attached to their mission. She didn't just support operations, she made them possible. HUMINT, SIGINT, geospatial analysis, she synthesized everything. By 2015, she was the senior targeting officer for JSOC. Do you know what that means?" No one answered. "It means every Tier 1 operation, Delta, DevGru, the activity, crossed her desk. She found the targets. She built the intelligence architecture. She sat in the ops center and guided teams through hostile territory in real time." Morrison's voice softened slightly. "She also deployed herself. More than 30 times. She operated in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia. Places we can't officially acknowledge." Captain Hartwell had gone pale. We didn't know." "She said she did intelligence support." "She did," Morrison said. "The kind of intelligence support that won the war on terror, one target at a time." Vanessa's father found his voice. "Admiral Caldwell, retired." "Sir, with respect, why haven't I heard of her? If her work was so significant." "Because the best intelligence officers are ghosts, Admiral. They don't give interviews. They don't write memoirs. Their operations stay classified for decades." Morrison looked at me. "How many of your ops are still SEAL?" "All of them, sir." Officially, he agreed. "But I can tell you this much. And I'm only sharing this because I'm retiring in 6 months, and I'm tired of people like Ghost never getting their due." He paused, looking around the room. 2011, we got Bin Laden. You all know that story. What you don't know is that the intelligence that located him came from a network analysis that took 2 years and involved dozens of analysts and operators. Ghost ran the task force that did it. Her team identified the courier, tracked the pattern, narrowed the location. When we raided that compound, she was in the ops center at Langley, and when it was done, the president asked to speak to the intelligence team personally. I remembered that call. Remembered the CIA director handing me the phone, the weight of what we'd just done settling over everyone in the room. She received a personal commendation from the president, Morrison said. Classified, of course. She's also been recommended for the Defense Intelligence Medal twice and the Legion of Merit 3 times. The paperwork is in her file, even if the ceremonies never happened. Derek was staring at me. Riley, why didn't you ever say anything? Because I signed documents saying I couldn't, I said simply. Because the work mattered more than credit. Because the people I worked with. I gestured to Colonel Barnes, to Morrison. They knew. That was enough. Vanessa's voice was small. I called you a desk jockey. I implied you weren't. I'm so sorry. You didn't know, I said. But the words felt hollow now, the damage done. Lieutenant Hartwell stepped forward. Ma'am, I've heard stories. In the teams, we have legends about intelligence officers who could find anyone, anywhere. We called one of them Ghost. I always thought it was a myth. Multiple people, maybe. Not one person. One person, Morrison confirmed. And she was better than the stories suggest. 2014, we had 2 aid workers kidnapped by ISIS in Syria. We had 48 hours before the execution video was scheduled to film. Every intelligence asset in the region was working the problem. Ghost found them. She intercepted a satellite phone call, cross-referenced it with SIGINT from 3 months prior, identified a pattern, and located them in a village of 5,000 people. We got them out with 6 hours to spare. Horns nodded. I was on that rescue too. Ma'am, that was the most precise intelligence package I've ever seen. You had the building layout, guard rotations, even which room the hostages were in. How did you do it? Vanessa's father asked, his admiral's bearing softening into genuine curiosity. I listened, I said. I built patterns. I connected dots that didn't seem connected. I stayed awake for 72 hours straight when I had to. I learned to think like the enemy and predict what they'd do next. I paused. And I had a team. None of it was just me. But you led them, Morrison said. And when you got hit in Baghdad, that was 2017, right? I nodded. The memory was sharp. The explosion, the burning metal, the feeling of my body coming apart. She was conducting a source meeting in the red zone. Morrison told the room. Deep cover, no backup, getting intelligence on an Iranian Quds force commander. The meeting was compromised. She took a bullet and stayed in position long enough to transmit the intelligence before exfiltrating. The information she sent back led to an operation that saved American lives. I was doing my job, I said. You were being a warrior, Morrison countered. The kind Vanessa was describing in her toast. The difference is, you don't need to tell people about it. The ballroom remained quiet. Vanessa had tears on her cheeks. Her mother, Captain Hartwell, looked stricken. Even the contractors and junior officers who'd dismissed me earlier were staring with expressions ranging from shame to awe. Derek crossed to me, his face twisted with emotion. 20 years, he said. 20 years, and I never really understood. You'd come home on leave and say you were tired. You'd deflect questions. I thought you were being modest, but I also thought, God, Riley, I thought maybe there wasn't much to tell. There was plenty to tell, I said. I just couldn't tell it. Morrison's aide, Colonel Barnes, cleared his throat. Ma'am, if I may, the Ranger community keeps informal records. Stories that get passed down. There's one about an intelligence officer who supported a hostage rescue in Afghanistan. British journalist, held by the Haqqani network. The officer stayed on comms for 14 hours straight, guiding the team through a blizzard, redirecting when the enemy moved the hostage mid-operation. They say she was so precise, she called out when to turn left or right down to the second. The journalist lived. 2 Rangers who would have walked into an ambush didn't. We call that op the ghost walk. That was you. Lieutenant Hartwell asked quietly. I nodded. Jesus. He looked at his trident, then at me. Ma'am, I've done 4 deployments. I've run ops I'm proud of. But what you're describing, that's a different level. That's strategic impact. He struggled for words. That's the kind of career they'll teach at the War College in 50 years. Vanessa's father, The admiral stepped forward. His handshake this time was firm, held long. Colonel Marsh, I owe you an apology. We made assumptions. We valued the visible over the vital. That was wrong. You valued what you knew, I said. What you could see. It's natural. It's lazy, he corrected. And disrespectful. You've served at a level most of us can't comprehend, and we treated you like you were less than because your service was classified. He looked at his daughter. Vanessa, this is a lesson in humility. Vanessa approached carefully. Riley, I don't know how to apologize enough. Everything I said tonight, you didn't know? I said again. And honestly, I'm used to it. Most people don't understand what intelligence work is. They think it's analysts in cubicles. They don't realize that intelligence officers deploy, get shot at, make life or death decisions in real time. I should have asked instead of assumed, Vanessa said. I should have respected your service on principle, not just after learning you're legendary. Morrison smiled. She is legendary. But she's also right. She had a team. I've worked with hundreds of intelligence professionals. Ghost was the best, but she'd tell you she learned from others, built on their work, collaborated constantly. That's what makes great intelligence officers. They're not lone wolves. They're connectors. Sir, I said, you're embarrassing me. Good. You've spent 20 years in the shadows. You deserve one night of recognition. He turned to Derek. Your sister saved lives. Hundreds of them, directly. Thousands, if you count the cascading effects of removing high-value targets from the battlefield. She's a hero. Treat her like one. Derek's voice was thick. I will. I promise. The party shifted after that. People approached me differently, cautiously, respectfully. Lieutenant Hartwell asked detailed questions about intelligence operations, genuinely curious now. Captain Hartwell shared her own service story with new humility. The defense contractors who'd ignored me earlier listened when I spoke. But the person I kept watching was Vanessa. She found me on the terrace an hour later, the Washington lights spread out below us. I keep thinking about what I said, she began. About real warriors. About showing up versus serving. You were celebrating your family, I said. It's natural to be proud of them. I was being elitist. I was using my family's service to put down yours. She looked at her hands. My brother did 4 deployments. He's a good SEAL. But you know what he told me just now? He said the intelligence officers made his job possible. That without people like you, operators like him would be running blind. He's right. I never thought about it that way. I never considered that the unglamorous work, the invisible work, might be the most important work. She paused. General Morrison said you were retiring when you got hit. Is that true? I had my 20. I was planning to finish out the year, then transition to teaching at one of the service schools. The bullet had decided differently. Medical retirement at Walter Reed, physical therapy for 2 years, learning to live with chronic pain. Do you miss it? I considered the question. I missed the mission. I missed knowing that what I did mattered immediately, tangibly. But I don't miss the weight of it. The pressure of knowing that if I got something wrong, people died. That sounds unbearable. It was the job. I looked at her. You work in Pentagon procurement, right? Acquisition. I manage defense contracts. That matters too. Equipment that works, supplies that arrive, systems that integrate properly. That keeps people alive just as surely as good intelligence. It's just less visible. She smiled slightly. Are you being generous? I'm being honest. The military is a machine with 10,000 parts. Every part matters. I just wish we'd stopped ranking them by visibility. Derek joined us, Morrison beside him. My brother looked older somehow, more serious. General Morrison has been telling me stories. Things he can't talk about, but he can. Riley, I had no idea. I'm so sorry I never pushed to understand. You're my brother, not my commanding officer, I said. I didn't need you to understand the classified parts. I just needed you to trust that they mattered. I do now, and I'm going to do better. We both are. He looked at Vanessa, who nodded. Morrison checked his watch. I need to get back to the Pentagon. Ghost, walk me out. At his car, he turned to me. How are you doing? Really? Some days better than others. The pain management is working. I'm consulting part-time for a defense contractor, doing analysis. It's not the same, but it's something. You ever think about coming back? Teaching. Sometimes. When I'm ready. He nodded. When you are, call me. I'll be retired, but I know people. Someone with your experience should be shaping the next generation. He paused. You deserve better tonight. Better than having to be outed to get basic respect. Maybe. But it was also good to be seen. Just once. He smiled. You were always seen, ghost. By the people who mattered. Don't forget that. I watched him drive away, then returned to the ballroom. The party was winding down, guests departing, staff cleaning up. Derek and Vanessa were saying goodbyes. When they saw me, they came over together. Riley, Vanessa said, I'd like to start over. If you'll let me. I'd like to get to know my future sister-in-law without assumptions. I'd like that too. Derek hugged me, long and tight. I love you. I'm proud of you. I should have said it more. You're saying it now? That counts. Driving home later, windows down, I felt something shift. The secret keeping had been necessary, protective, but also isolating. Tonight, for the first time in 20 years, I'd been fully seen by people outside the community. It was uncomfortable and exposing and, surprisingly, freeing. My phone buzzed. A text from Morrison meant what I said. When you're ready to teach, the door's open. We need more ghosts. I smiled and drove home through the quiet Virginia night, carrying my secrets a little lighter than before.